What's going on, everybody? You are listening to the Co-Living Show. My name is Craig Curelop,
Miller McSwain.
and we've got honestly, actually one of my favorite episodes that we've done so far. And I think a lot of it is because I actually didn't know these guys before, and they're so impressive. Hem and Harsh, they're twins, and they look like twins, and they talk like twins, and they act like twins. I feel like they just are like mirror images of each other. They just kind of do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I was kind of really excited to come into this one. Him and Harsh have been in the co-living community on Facebook that me and Craig have for a long time, like all the way back to the first call that I can ever remember. And I don't know exactly where they were back then, like portfolio wise, but they weren't at the level that they are now. So they've seen a lot of growth since then. And me and Craig had a ton of fun talking to them about specifically how they've scaled within their family. So it's them two, plus they have another sibling that works with them too, and scaled super quickly within 2 years or so. So we're hoping this is something that you guys can take if you're at the ground floor and see what the very next step looks like. They're just 1 or 2 steps ahead of you guys. So it should be really relevant to a lot of you beginners.
What's fun about some of these shows is these guys, Miller, are kind of like your babies. They came up kind of like under your tutelage and like all that kind of stuff. And then I think kind of like you're one of my babies. You kind of looked up to my book or whatever. And then, so that makes them like my grandbabies.
And I think so.
I'm getting older here, but it just goes to show you, like when you get around people that are, and you're listening to people, and whether me and Miller know you listening personally, or if you just listen to us every week, consider us your friends, consider us your mentors, consider us your guides, just like Hem and Harsh have. I hadn't met Hem and Harsh till today, but that's the glorious thing about podcasts and getting things out to the masses, is that you can learn so much from me and Miller without even knowing us. And then eventually someday, hopefully we'll have the amazing honor to meeting all of you. So great episode. And also just talking through this episode about how you can work together as a family and as twins at that. Same thing, same lifestyle. And they seem to work very symbiotically together. It's just amazing to see that work. And we kind of get into a lot of different things in this episode: self-management, working with family, scaling while having a W-2 job. They're in what we call kind of like the very late phase of phase 1, where they've done it all themselves without partners, and they're looking to get into scale mode. And I think a lot of you guys, if you're still in early stages of phase 1, maybe you're searching for your first property or looking, or you just have 1 or 2, you can look to Hem and Harsh to see, you can easily see yourself in their shoes a couple of years from now. It gets harder when you start to compare against people at different phases, raising money and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I went on a little monologue there. Miller, anything you want to add before we get into today's question?
Nope, that's basically what I said, and then Craig said it again. So I think we're all good.
Oh, whatever. I just was listening.
All right, you guys vote. Who said it better? No, I think Craig was much more eloquent.
Okay, I get the dub there then. Okay, so our question from the co-living community is from our good friend Yoni Kaczynski. Yoni's our boy. So Yoni's running into an issue where his utility costs are up $200 or $300 per house due to increased rates, but the market is unable to support high enough rents to cover the increased costs. What do we do about this?
Yeah, honestly, I think this one's a really tough question. I haven't really seen this happen to us personally, or maybe I'm not tracking the utility costs close enough. So props to Yanni for even noticing this. This is what you should be doing if you're working on your business. You should be looking at your numbers like this and figuring out where to optimize. Maybe a couple of things that I can say. So the obvious question is, utilities are a little bit higher. We raise our rents a little bit. But he's saying that, that has not happened yet. So it's probably a delayed effect, right? Utility rates would rise. Landlords aren't really passing that on for maybe up to even 12 months, right? Because a lot of leases are only 12-month type cycles. So it will probably get baked in, but maybe not yet. So maybe things that we could recommend here or some thoughts, probably mostly on the utility fee front, right? So I don't know about you guys, but we do charge a flat utility fee. For us, it's typically around like $80 per month. That's something that you could increase a little bit. Yeah, say that you have a 10-bedroom house and Yanni's looking at a $300 increase. Okay, in utilities. Maybe that's an extra $30 or so to that utility fee. That could help a little bit, but if the renter's adding that in to the cost that they're anticipating paying, that could still have a little bit of an impact. Maybe the least friction way to get some of this back, you could add some sort of like overage threshold in your lease or something like that. Hey, we pay up to this amount. This is what your utility fee covers. If we start to see going over this amount, then we start to charge some back. But to be honest, I think that this might just be a cost that you eat for just a little while. You should still be cash flowing healthily, and it'll catch up pretty shortly.
I would agree. I think you got to eat this one for a little while. You could potentially increase the utility fee, which is what we do. as new tenants move in, but you can't increase it immediately till like
Yeah.
people already agreed to it. The other thing you could do is you could do an energy audit to your house. And so you could literally have a consultant come in and just see where you're losing energy. And they'll give you recommendations on, oh, you need to put more insulation in your whatever in your ceiling, you need whatever. They're gonna have change out these lights or they'll be able to do that. And that could be a way on the other side to just get people to use less utilities to save.
I
So
think that's a great point. We're coming off a winter. So honestly, some of these increases could just be because of that. In our portfolio, most houses have AC, but there's some that don't. We do see a big increase in utility usage in the winter when the heat's kicking on, and then we don't see it in the summer when the AC's going. So that really could just be a part of it there. But cool. All right. Yeah, I think that's really good input there, though, Craig. Yeah, definitely the energy audit. Even my dad was talking to me recently about how they took all their outlet covers off and filled them with spray foam because he was like, you'd be so surprised if you put your hand up to an outlet. Sometimes you can feel the air even coming through there. Just
oh
super
yeah.
small things like that could make a big impact.
Yep, for sure. Cool.
Cool.
That was a good answer. Yoni, great question.
Hey, and by the way, guys, if you guys are struggling with all the work involved in marketing a property off PadSplit, we actually did just launch a service called Co-Living Pro. It's colivingpro.io, something I developed with a friend of mine. And it's basically a marketing platform where you go list your property once and it shoots it across all these different places and it correctly lists it as a room and gives you a bunch of extra features there. All your leads come back into one inbox. You can manage things super easily. So love it if you guys would check that out. That's colivingpro.io. And yeah, thanks, guys.
Hem and Harsh, welcome to the show, my friends. How are you doing today?
We're doing great, Craig. Thanks for having us here. Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
So, who's Hem and who's Harsh?
I'm Ham, Harsh.
Harsh, are you the one that's like a little bit harder on things? Or is that just a bad joke that you get a lot?
Yeah, usually the handsome twin. That's how the people know me.
Okay. Hem, what do you have to say about that?
I guess it's more when you see a certain person, you know who's who.
Yeah, exactly. Ham and Harsh, we're super pumped to have you on the show. Why don't you just start off by telling us where you are right now in your journey? How many houses do you have? How many rooms for rent? To give us paint us a little 30-second picture of your business now.
Sure, Craig. Currently, we do operate. We have a company called CLT Room Rentals that we operate under. We have 7 homes. We have 6 homes in Charlotte. They are all in the same community, so that's a good. And then we have 1 home in Atlanta that we have as co-living homes. So currently 7 homes. We have 35 rooms in total. All our homes are 5-bed, 3-bath at the moment. And we have about 35 tenants that we manage day to day. Currently, we don't have any vacancies, but yeah, that's our portfolio at the moment.
Amazing. So all of them are 5-bed, 3 baths. Do those work? Or do those work these days? Or do you need?
Yeah, they are working for us at the moment. Since we self-manage those properties, we save a lot of cost on property management. And in a market like Charlotte, where companies like PadSplit they're just getting started, I think they do work. I think for us, we acquire our properties as primary residence. The cost to get in is low since we put anywhere from 5 to 10% down, and then we usually cash flow around $1,000 or $1,000 to $1,200 per property.
Okay. But the math still works even with a low, because when you have a lower percent down, your monthly payment's higher. And so that still works with just 5 beds. I'm like in shock. That was like 2020 numbers.
Yeah, no, that still works. Even though we have a high interest rate, the math still works. Our rooms are fully furnished, so we kind of rent them at a premium. So that kind of helps us bringing in more rent every month.
Awesome. We're going to get into that deep later as to how to operate a handful of 5-bed, 3-bath rooms. And we're going to ask you through your step-by-step because you just said you had 0 occupancy too. So that's what's to come. Hem and Harsh, I know you guys didn't just, be born here with a bunch of wealth and had a bunch of riches, right? Tell us a little bit about your origin story and how you came over to the US and all that good stuff.
Sure, Craig. We came back with our family back in 2016. We moved to United States from India. We're from a very small city in India, and we moved here when I was 16. So we moved here with our parents. We had no idea what United States was. We had no idea how to do anything. My parents, we are all immigrants. We are first generation immigrants. My parents don't speak English or they don't really know how day-to-day works. So at 16, we were pretty involved in just getting our foot to the door. So when we first came in here, we went to high school. We did 2 We were sophomores when we first started high school, and then went to college. We went to UNC Charlotte. We both had our college. We did computer science. We both had degrees in computer science, and we graduated from a four university. But when we first came in here, as I mentioned, we don't had a whole lot. We stayed in a motel for 4 years. If how stuff works, from mostly people from India, when they move to United States, that's where they start. That's where we started as well. We started with more of a, to be honest, nothing, if that makes sense. We had full-time jobs when we were in college as well. So we went through the 4 years. Yeah, totally. It was eye-opening. That's where we saved a lot of money as well. We worked there, we stayed there. So yeah, that's how we came here. It's been 10 years, wonderful 10 years.
When you guys were in college, I'm just curious, how were you guys saving money and going to college and working the job and doing all that? Because people are in all sorts of different scenarios. Sometimes parents pay for college, sometimes there's scholarships, so there may not be funds extra to save. So what was that set up for you guys?
Yeah, we primarily relied on scholarships and federal assistance as well when we were in college. So that's how we kind of went through college. And Deep said we had full-time jobs since we've been there, working 40 to 60 hours every week when I was in college, while doing college. And then, of course, staying in a motel helps you. We were working there as well. So there was no rent that we need to pay. But that kind of what helped us even save for our first home. We bought our primary residence in 2021, but that kind of helped us through that.
Awesome. What kind of got you guys into real estate? Like, where was that nugget first dropped?
I think bigger pockets. I think that's what I would give a lot of credit to. I've always been curious about real estate, just how things work. Started listening to a lot of podcasts, especially the Bigger Pockets Rookie podcast, and then just trying to see different ways people invest. And co-living was one of those things where I see a lot of people at least started getting into it. And I was like, that makes sense because cash flowing in this market, even when we bought our first rental, the interest rate was so high that it's hard to cash flow even $100. So I was like, you know what, let's try to get into something that's a little more niche. And there was not a lot of room rentals in Charlotte at that point. Now there is, but at that point there was not a lot of them. So that's what kind of got me into it.
Were there any lessons that you drew from living in a motel for 4 years to co-living?
Yes. So we had two rooms that they gave us. So it was kind of us living in a room for 4 years, right? So we kind of understand what things people need, like furniture, how to live with less stuff in the room, right? It's just a room, right? So yeah, we did take a lot of that to our business because we know exactly what would make people's life easier and make them feel comfortable and make it feel like home.
One thing that I see a lot of people kind of get trapped into is once they graduate college, they get a good high paying job. They go and move into a place that they can afford. They just move into somewhere where their income is 3 times the rent and that's their budget. And I think that's the biggest trap that Americans fall into. Instead, they should do exactly what you guys did. And I think it's interesting because when you go through some sort of, I don't want to call it pain, because you guys probably weren't suffering in the motel room, but compared to other people, it was definitely a sacrifice that you and your parents had to make in order to get over to America. But now that you had the ability and you knew how to live at a lesser, at a lesser value or whatever, living in a room now sounds pretty luxurious, where you got a kitchen and you got all this other stuff, right? And so I think for all you young folks out there, if you guys are in college or just getting out of college, don't increase your lifestyle. Be like living with roommates and living with people as long as you possibly can. And until there's an outside factor, i.e. a spouse, that tells you to stop, you should keep living with people until that happens.
And I think that's how a lot our business kind of functions as well. Until we have spouse or family, we kind of want to keep doing house hacking and just try to scale up. Yeah, it's like maybe next 2 years until we have a family, we want to keep buying primary residence, stay in one room, rent out the others, and just try to build a portfolio that way. So once we have a family, we won't be able to do that anymore, but we can scale by other means. But for now, this is working really well for us, and that's what we want to keep doing for the next couple of years.
Yeah. And I just super duper want to highlight what Greg was just talking about. At the end of college, right before you start your career after college, that's like exactly whenever I got started in co-living. And there were so many benefits to doing it then. So I'm sure that we do have some young listeners out there who are in college or recently graduated or maybe even high school and maybe a pre-step there. But for me, it was like, hey, I was just living in the dorms. Hey, I was just living in an apartment where I was sharing the house or sharing the common spaces with everyone else. You guys were in the motel situation, like different, but probably gave you some of those learning lessons there. But really, it's if you start right after college, it's super easy if you're going to house hack to move into a house. You already get along with that age bracket. Like you are already that age bracket. You're going to naturally get along with them, be able to attract more tenants. It's like the easiest time to start a co-living business because you are the target demographic for co-living at that point. So really everybody out there, I would encourage you, once you do start that job after college and you're buying your first property, live like you did when you were in college, right? I was doing like you guys, working different jobs, selling my plasma even. So maybe that's the one thing I dropped whenever I bought the first property was like, all right, I'm going to keep living small means, but I'm going to stop donating my plasma. But yeah, it's definitely the opportune time. So.
What's funny is that Miller calls it donating his plasma to sound good, but he totally got paid for it. So
yeah, it makes me feel really good about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And from what you said, that makes sense, right? When you're college, you're with your friends, you're staying dorms or whatever. It's very easier for you to find tenants or find roommates, right? If you are a senior, talk to your juniors, right? See if they are living somewhere that they want to move into your home, right? You rent one, you stay in one room, you rent the other room. So I feel like, as you said, that's a really great way for you to step in your foot in right out of college.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about your first acquisition just a little bit. So you mentioned it was 2021. Are you guys, and actually it's you guys and your sister, right? That's the partnership?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Were any of you in college? And yeah, how was that timing relating to graduating college?
So back in 2021, we bought our first primary residence where we live as a family. But in 2023 is when we started our first co-living or kind of house hacking project. But at that time, we just graduated college and we got our corporate job at that point. We had at least some safe backing to kind of go back to. But yeah, that's where we kind of started in 2023.
Okay. Let's get into the numbers in that deal because I'm really excited to see. This is past COVID. Prices are still high. Rates are high. We are in effectively the same market now as we were in 2023. So, Pam, Harsh, whoever is your acquisitions guy out of this team, tell us like, how did you find this property? What did you buy it for? What did you like about it? And just run through that whole deal for us.
So I was the one who bought our first property. We acquired it at 380 in Charlotte. It was a new construction. And how I found the deal at that time, we were looking at some properties just to see how we can kind of make a co-living work. We were looking for at least 4 to 5 bedrooms just to kind of start with. And one day I was in Tennessee at that time. Something popped up on my Zillow saying, hey, look at this new construction home. I clicked on it. It said a 4-bedroom home. And I was like, okay, let's see how we can at least kind of make it work. I called him. I was like, hey, can you go check this out before it kind of goes off market? Because we were still in the COVID market. So he went down there, he checked, and he was like, you know what? It's listed as a 4-bedroom, but there's actually an extra bedroom on the first floor that they count as a bonus room. So they are not counting it as a bedroom. So I was like, you know what? That's even better. We have a 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. Let's just go ahead and see what we can do. So we acquired that in 2023 at 380K. And then we initially started with not furnishing our rooms. And the goal was, since our homes are located 5 minutes away from the university, the goal was to have some sort of student housing going on. But apparently it just worked out to the point where we had no students. It was just all working professionals, Uber drivers, teachers, subway workers, just those kind of folks. Yeah.
Gotcha. And I want to ask, so 380 was the purchase price. You put how much down? Like 10 grand, 10, 15 grand?
About 10%. So 40K down.
Okay. So 40,000 down. What was their monthly payment?
The monthly payment on that is $2,830.
Okay.
That's including your PATA. Yeah.
Right. $2,830 is the monthly obligation. And what do you get in each room? What do you rent? What's their rent?
So we rented anywhere from $850 to $950. If it's a room with a private bathroom, $950. That's including utilities and everything. If it's a room with a shared bathroom, anywhere from $750 to $850, depending on the time of the year.
Okay. Wow. So super rough numbers on this one. You're probably getting $4,400 of rent on a $2,800 mortgage. So you're making about $1,500 over the mortgage, which is fantastic. You don't have a property management fee because you manage it yourself. You're paying utilities. I imagine that's $300 or $400 a month.
Yep.
And then 400. So then you've got your other fees, right? You got maintenance and CapEx, all that kind of stuff you got to save for. So you're probably like truly cash flowing $500 or $600 a month on this property. Would you say that's about accurate?
So our expenses are not that high. I think we are cash flowing anywhere around $1,000 to $1,200.
Oh, wow. Okay.
On them, yeah. Because especially now that we have 6, now we have 6 properties, it's easier. We get a great deal on cleaning, maintenance, lawn cleaning. They're all in one neighborhood. Anytime we have some come out, they give us a good discount on things.
I think that's a really important piece to mention on. So when we're talking about starting with one property and then kind of getting to what Craig and I would call the end of phase one, you guys have scaled to 7. And now some things are going to start breaking and you're going to have to implement new processes to keep going from there. But along that pathway from 1 to 7, we encountered something very similar. Yeah, in the beginning, you're paying more for your cleaning, you're paying more for your handyman because you're not providing a ton of value to them yet. You're just providing them a job, like a singular job once per month or whatever it is. But yeah, with lawn care and with cleaning, we've had really high success. As we probably got to 4 or 5 houses, all of a sudden we did start providing more value. It's not, oh, hey, here's a job. It's like, no, you don't even have to go hunt for jobs as often because we're giving you this pipeline of jobs and everything. So that is something to consider. I wouldn't necessarily underwrite it prematurely into my numbers, but just everyone out there, keep that in mind that you should ask for those discounts once you reach some thresholds.
Now, our properties were not making that much initially because we were living in one room. So that at that point, we were breaking even or making around $200, $300 the first year. But after you move out, the cash flow increases, of course.
How does this dynamic work between you guys? So, Harsh, you bought the first one, and so you moved into it. Hem, what were you doing at this time?
So I was still staying in my primary home with my parents. So the primary home is still our biggest, or probably the best deal that we ever got, actually, to be honest, even other than our primary home, other than our investment. But I used to stay in this home with my parents. So while he did a house hack, I stayed home, took care of my parents.
Okay. And then what was preventing you from doing a house hack at the same exact time?
Same thing. We want to try it out, see how it works, right? Again, we had no idea on what co-living was. We are fresh investors, right? We had no idea how this room by room rentals work, co-living works. We had zero idea. So we were like, hey, let's try it out, see if Harsh can do it. We were still partners. We still funded the deal together, but he was the one who took it on himself to house hack. But yeah, we were just very fresh.
But within 2 months, we started working and he got the next house in 2 months.
Yeah. So right next to
you quickly went. So then Hem, you went through and basically, did you just do the same thing as Harsh, just copy paste?
Same thing as copy paste. And I feel like that's the biggest advantage, or people don't realize how powerful it is to have one thing working and you just copy paste it throughout your entire portfolio. So yes, there are going to be other challenges, but the moment you get the first one, that's a different feeling, as you guys can relate.
Yeah. So you had mentioned that you guys were waiting to see how well the first one worked out to prove everything out. It was a new strategy and all that. But you did it after only 2 months. What the heck happened in those 2 months to make you guys so confident to go spend another 20 to 40K or whatever on another house?
The first one was how quickly our rooms rented. They rented in less than 2 weeks. So all of our rooms got rented, which was amazing. We had no idea, or we didn't hope that it was going to be that quickly rented. So we were like, hey, if we can rent all our rooms on a first home without no experience in less than 2 weeks, what can we do with experience moving forward? So that was our biggest eye-opening, and that's where it all started.
Yeah, and I think another factor that was the location, right? The house that I'm in, the neighborhood was coming up, so the builders are building more homes in the neighborhood. They had 2 more homes on the market, and we were like, why don't we just purchase 2 more that are in the same location? So my brother got one, and then my sister got one the next month. So I think within 3-4 months, we had 3 single families now up and running.
These houses are all individually, like Hem, you own one, Harsh owns one, and your sister owns one.
Correct.
But you guys are viewing this as like one combined portfolio. On the back end, is it that way? Are your bank accounts the same, or your LLC? I guess you have to buy them into personal names, but how does that
not
work?
at the moment. So we still manage them separately, but we put them in the same category or same box, but we do manage them separately. So that's where it helps us. I manage my homes, he manages his, or my sister manages her homes. But at the same time, we all make decisions together, right? Hey, we have a parking issue at one home. Let's all talk about what's going on. Let's figure out a solution on that particular home, because guess what? If one home has issue, other 6 gonna have the same issue. So we all work together, but we kind of manage them separately.
Our operations are streamlined throughout the entire portfolio. The leases are same, the software we use are the same, the way we do things, right? Scan and screening, everything is exactly the same. They operate very similar. Yeah.
So essentially, the management, while you're responsible for your own, it all rolls up as if you are under one management company.
That's correct.
And we help each other with pretty much everything.
Yeah. If I have a showing, he goes to mine. If I'm busy, he goes to mine. So it does help in terms of we have 3 folks trying this business together. So yeah, it does.
Our tenants have 2 points of contact, me and him, right? They can call. Yeah.
Yeah, people
they don't know the difference when they call. So
dang it, Miller, you beat me to it.
I saw Craig on camera spooling up, so I just jumped in there.
Yeah.
They have no idea. I mean, sometimes they call me her, she calls him. We are like, hey man, that's fine. You don't even correct them anymore. We just
Yeah.
A lot of they're like, did you get that text that I sent you? I was like, it wasn't me. I think you sent it to my brother.
Yeah. I'm sure that happens all the time. Honestly, I
Yes.
thought as you go older that you stop looking alike for some reason, but like,
We did though. We do.
Yeah.
If you look at our childhood pictures, we look exactly like. There's no, even I cannot tell which one is what.
Yes.
So now we do look a little bit different. But back when we were kids, no.
I don't believe that yet.
Yeah,
but
from the outside viewer, it's still pretty similar, I got to say.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so I am kind of curious though. So with the way that you guys have things set up now, so first off, just to get it clear for everybody, let me step through these categories and see if we get it. So you guys collectively funded each acquisition for the
Mhm.
most part. Management uses the same softwares and the same processes, but for the most part, like Harsh is signing Harsh's leases, him is doing his, and your sister's doing
Right.
yours. But you
Right.
guys are hopping in and helping each other out.
That's right.
And then maybe the third category here, returns. Are
Mhm.
returns going into sort of one bucket that's split evenly three ways, or is that still isolated to who owns what?
So currently, every property has their own bank accounts, and it all pulls into the cash flow bucket that we have. But whenever we have a next acquisition or a next property that we will purchase, we put everything together and try to help out each other in acquiring, because that's how we got all our rentals as well. Eventually, we'll disperse, but yeah, all those funds goes towards our next project.
But yeah, when we see a potential property, we all sit down. Hey, okay, who got what? How many? What the funds are? What funds can you bring to the table? What can I bring to the table? And we discuss. So it's a partnership, as you guys said, right? We are not. We don't have partners outside our family, but we are partners inside the family. So yeah, it does work.
How do you guys handle conflict?
Great question. Great question, Craig. The way we handle conflicts, I feel like over communicating, we make sure we keep each other in loop and we sit down until we get this resolved. We don't get up from our seats, right? We have an issue at our hand. Hey guys, what can we do? I might have a different opinion. He might have a different opinion. My sister might have a different opinion. But at the same time, we all are connected. I would say we take our business very seriously. So we are connected. We don't just say things just to say them. We actually mean it, and then we try to find a solution. So even the conflicts, we are really good at coming to middle ground.
And a lot of times we see things from both sides, because I'll stay on one section, he'll stay on the other, complete opposite ends, and we'll debate, saying, hey, what are the advantages of this side? What are the advantages of the other side? Especially with acquisitions, I'm like, should we get on the property in the same neighborhood? I'm gonna say no. He's gonna say yes, and then we'll debate, saying this is why we should, this is why we shouldn't. We bring both perspectives to the table, and whatever makes sense, we'll agree on one thing and move forward with it.
I guess that could be the benefit of having three people, because then there's always, there's never going to be a tie. There's never going to,
yeah, and yeah.
Totally. And my sister, she's probably her strength is how she can design the rooms or design the homes versus me and him can come into operation, right? We are operation guys, we are acquisition guys. We come in and we make sure this process is streamlined before we give it to her. So
Right.
we are like the guinea pigs. She does the more of implementation, but yeah, it works. We have our own roles.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys got up to 7 houses from 1 to 7 using this sort of partnership structure with family.
Right.
Is there anything that you guys would change about how you have this partnership kind of set up here from getting 1 to 7? In hindsight, is there a different way you would structure it? And do you plan on making any changes going from 7 plus?
Not really. I feel like the structure that we had worked very well for us. I wouldn't do it any other way. The only thing I would change is probably how quickly can we scale it. We've been doing this for 2 years now. I feel like that what we achieved is still really good. I would still like us to scale a little bit faster, since I feel like the 7 homes we have, they're doing very well and we're really good at what we do. So moving forward, yes, we're gonna have some changes in terms of we are looking to partner with folks outside of a family, right? We're gonna try to have partnerships outside since we want to scale. Currently, we are doing 1 or 2 homes per year. I want to at least do 3 to 4 per year, but that's our goal.
Love that. I think you guys, like we said in the beginning, you are at the end of phase 1. You've tested this niche. Is it for you? Yes, you like it. You got 7 houses. Do you have a good track record that you could point at to other investors? Yes, you've got that. You've put your own hundreds of thousands of dollars of your own money into it. That's how much you believe in it. The partnership seems to be working. And I think it'll be interesting to see, because there will continuously be stress tests on your partnership as brothers and also as business partners, and especially as you grow and scale fast. Now, I've got a question for you guys too, like just from a personal perspective. Do you guys have significant others? Are there other people that are important to you that don't overlap?
So currently, I don't have a partner or somebody that I am want a future with. So I'm technically operating on my own. My sister does; she's married, so she does have a family that she has to support. That where it does get a bit challenging, but not really, since she's the one who handles a lot of co-living side. My brother, he's looking into probably having a family anytime soon. So yeah, we do all are at a different phases in our life. And that's, as you said, that's going to be very interesting how we structure our next coming years. We have thought about it, we have talked about it briefly, but as you said, that's going to be very interesting to see how we are going to set up. And I feel like that's another thing I would like to trace back is that's how we started, right? Since we all, at least me and my brother, we are not married, we don't have a family yet. That was our goal from day one, that hey, until we do that, let's do house hacking, see how this model works. If it works for us, that's awesome. We'll do more after once we have families. So I feel like anybody who's in our shoes can relate or take advantage of not having a family in the beginning of their 20s.
And I think that's I don't ever think you should hesitate in having a family to
Totally.
do anything else. Like you find someone that you love, go after them. That is way more fulfilling than business in
Totally.
100% of the time. But in the meantime, you can
Yeah.
make your life a lot easier for your future wife or future husband or whatever it is. I do want to get back to, you mentioned in the beginning, a lot of people that come on the show, probably like 70%. This is a trust me bro number. Miller probably has the actual number. People like are on PadSplit, but both of us are not on PadSplit. And so I'm curious on how are you filling your rooms and like what's some of the software and stuff that you use that, and I guess also like why are you not on PadSplit?
Yeah, so I guess our primary software, I think, and thanks Miller for recommending us Inago. We use that for our property management. We were using apartment.com. We recently made that switch last year, and it's been going quite well for us. As far as marketing goes, we find most our tenants on Facebook Marketplace. And then I think we also get a lot of leads from Roomies, Craigslist, apartment.com, Zillow. And now that we have a website that we build with using AI, I think we are trying to push that and get some more leads from our website as well. But primarily marketplace is where we get a lot of our tenants from. And furnished finder, I think that's been quite well to us as well. It's been actually quite well. And I think a lot of us, we focus on retention. So we don't have a lot of turnover. I think that kind of helps because we only have to find a few tenants a year.
What a harsh shift. The reason we are not leaning on PadSplit at the moment, even since we started, we were not really. PadSplit just came to Charlotte like maybe 8 months ago. But the reason we don't want to move to PadSplit is one, the fees. I feel like the fees are really high and it won't work for us since we only have 5 bedrooms. I feel like PadSplit will only work if you have 7 or 8, 9, 10 bedrooms. So when I scale to 7, 8, 9 bedrooms, I definitely want to try PadSplit. But at the moment, I feel like we do a pretty good job at marketing and managing our homes that we don't really need PadSplit.
I just had so many questions flip my brain. First one that comes to mind is on the acquisition side of things.
Yes.
You're buying these 5-bed, 3-baths. Do you buy them with the intent of adding more later? It works as a 5-bed, 3-bath now, but like, what is like that whole strategy? And then let's start with that.
Yeah. So at the very beginning, when you bought first a couple homes, we thought 5-bed, like the thought process was, why would somebody stay with 5 people, right? We were like, 5-bed is still a lot to have a co-living home. And then we tried it out, we tested it out. 5-bedroom works. I feel like that's a very sweet spot. 5-bed, 3-bath. We don't buy our properties thinking we're gonna add an additional bedroom. We never thought actually in the moment, but now the living room in all our homes is perfect spot to add a 6-bedroom. We are in talks to add a 6-bedroom in all our homes. So that would be interesting to see how I can convert the living room into a 6-bedroom. But yeah, totally. We never thought to add more rooms, but now we do.
I would say that's probably the best ROI you can get in a co-living home is by adding bedrooms for sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Craig, let me hop in there for just a sec though. But we're wondering like, oh, geez, how did their rooms get filled up? How'd the whole house get filled up in 2 weeks? And how are they able to rent for this much? And like all those questions. So that is super important to point out that you guys are the only people that have come on with a 5-bed portfolio. Everyone else is definitely more in line with the rest of the community and 7 beds, 8 beds plus. So maybe that is the reason you guys are filling up so quick. There is this trade-off, right? As you add more and more bedrooms, from a marketing perspective, the ads look a little bit different, right? When you see that you're in room number 6, right? Like that kind of spawns some questions. So then you're wondering how many people live there and all that.
That's right.
And so kind of part 2 to that question is the first house that you bought, would you buy that house again? Or did you learn some lessons and you're like, actually, did you learn something along the way as you've been going buying 7 of these things?
I would say I would buy it again just because it's been a great at least a great starting point for us. So it kind of got us started into the whole thing, and it's still cash flowing pretty well. And I think this year when the rates come down, I'm hoping to refinance. And at that point, I'll probably make even more cash flow than what we are currently making. So yeah, 100%, I would do it again.
And the 6 bedroom. So I feel like we are betting a lot on the 6 bedroom as well. All our homes that would increase the cash flow by very significantly. But as you said, we will still buy that first home. The only thing I would not do again is one, hire a real estate agent, since now we are both agents. So I like to fund my own deals. I like to find my own deals and represent myself. Second is just how we bought new constructions, right? We love new construction. All our homes are actually new construction. So that's interesting fact as well. None of our homes are pre-owned homes. But the other thing is I would really work with the builder on some things that I really like in my co-living home. The first one, the landscaping, is a weird home where it's kind of below grade, but there's a driveway, it's slope, it's very slant driveway. So there's a couple things I would change in my first home, but if I have to rebuy it, I would definitely do it again, just with some minor changes.
Especially things like not having a carpet, hardwood floors,
Yeah.
having access for cameras outside, inside, and things like that. I would change certain those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. With these new build homes, are you guys dealing with HOAs, and how do you handle?
Great question. So not really. Yes and no. 5 of our homes are not in HOA. The other 2 are in HOA homes, since those are my sister. She bought them because for a family, and then she moved out of them. So we trying to buy homes not in HOA. Again, HOA, as you guys know, is a pain. So all of our homes in the same community, they don't have HOA. The one in Atlanta has HOA, and another one in Charlotte has HOA. So there are a lot of nuisance that comes with HOA. We try to work around them, but it's not too bad to a point where we have to sell one of our homes or forced to sell them.
And going back to the question, I think that's something I would change, is to not buy homes in an HOA.
Totally. Do not do that.
But is it hard to find new builds not in HOAs? I feel like unless it's like a custom built and you buy the land, like.
So they were, I think, 2 to 3 years ago, but the boom that Charlotte has seen in last 2 to 3 years is insanely high. We have a lot of small builders come in, buy lots and build on them. So nowadays it's not that hard, but 2 years ago it really was. But Charlotte has grown to a point where I cannot even tell you how much it has grown.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of new construction in non-HOA communities, just like a one-off home or a tear down and somebody build a new construction, etc.
Okay, sorry, I'm like kind of taking over here, but you guys, I'm still going through that list of questions that I had when I said I had a flood of questions. I think this is my last one. You mentioned 5 minutes ago, or even 10 minutes ago at this point, that you focus on retention. What does that mean, and what do you do?
So the number one thing what Miller mentioned, right? Since our homes are 5-bed, 3-bath, the retention, I feel like that's one of the reasons people stay with us, since there's not too many bodies in the home. But I feel like retention is one of the things that we really focus on. We are very
focused on having a great tenant experience.
Correct.
Make sure that they feel at home. New furniture, keep the place nice and clean, keep up with maintenance, pest control, all those stuff. If there's something wrong, we'll fix it within 24 to 48 hours, right? And I think there's a good ROI on that, right? Your folks stay with you longer. That means that's less rooms you gotta fill, right? I think we have folks living with us. The first time they're still with us, right? 2.5 years, they're still with us, some of them. So I think we kind of do focus a lot on that, and not raising rents astronomically, right? 3 to 5% a year. So that kind of helps.
Yeah. I'll echo what you guys say a little bit from my experience with my portfolio. So the first house that we bought, similar to you guys, 5 beds, 5 beds, 3 bath, didn't really do any remodel to it, moved in, and there's not even really any room to add bedrooms there. But literally, I can think of 2 tenants there that have been there almost since the very beginning, 2, 3+ years. And I can't think of anyone like that in my 8-bedroom houses, right? So I'd be really interested to see when you guys start to add the 6-bedroom in some of these, and you guys probably have places that you can track this and everything, but your time to fill these rooms could increase. We were talking about earlier, your rents could go down a little bit. Your length of stay could go down a little bit. So just a reminder to everybody, the more rooms you have, really how that would account for in your underwriting would be your vacancy assumption. These guys can probably get away with super low vacancy. Just be careful what you put in there. If you're going to have an 8-bed, 10-bed, it's better to err on the caution there and not assume you're going to do as well as these guys.
And Milan, we had a shift of mindset from the very beginning when we started. It was more of hey, how can we get more rent per room? How can we get $950,000 for master bedrooms? Versus now our mind shift is, hey, how can we not have vacancies? How can we have tenants in that particular room? So one, we don't have to spend time on renting it. Again, you might end up in the same boat if the room is empty for a month versus you cut down his rent by a couple bucks a month. So you might be in the same boat overall, but our focus now is scaling and not focusing on filling out the vacancies. So our focus is how can we retain more folks as much as we can so we can do something else that matters instead of going and marketing, putting the same thing over and over again, and it's a pain. I'd rather have somebody in than not.
What does your day-to-day look like?
It depends, but primarily we are at work from 9 to 5. We work 3 days in office, 2 days at home. So primarily it's 9 to 5. We work after we are done with work. We usually sometimes maybe once or twice a week we'll go down to the properties, check on things, making sure everything is in place. Just talk to some folks. I think that also helps building that relation with your tenants. Then we kind of end our day around 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
But no, yeah, as you said, we usually after a 9 to 5 job, we usually at our properties or doing something related to co-living, and especially on weekends as well. Same thing. We wake up, we go to our properties, check what's left to do. Again, there's always something to do. As you guys, there's always something to do. There's never a time where I don't have anything to do. But after 9 to 5 on weekends, that's what we do. So we are very driven. We are very driven in terms of we know how to use our time very well, and how can we make sure that we take things off our to-do list.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are kind of at the point now where you got to start making some decisions, right? Quitting the W-2.
Yes.
And then also I'm guessing you probably don't want to be going to the properties on the weekends because there's
totally.
life that wants to happen now too. You're definitely I feel like you're bulging at phase 1 at this point. And so I'm really excited to see what phase 2 looks like. What would you say is your next step here for phase 2? You're starting phase 2.
So next step is a new construction. So I bought a lot last year that is around 10 minutes from this our property. So it's been there for a while now, but our goal is to build a new construction. I'm aiming at 7-bed, 6-bath, 7-bed, 5-bath new construction home. And I want to see how that works out because I'm really, really into new construction. I feel like we both can work really well in those terms. And our goal is to scale. And we have lot of land is in Charlotte. Charlotte is insanely, the development is crazy, and we have a lot of lands. So our next step is once we get this home up and running new construction, our goal is to just build new construction moving forward. So yeah, that's our phase 2 and more beds, not 5, 7-bed, 8-bed. I'm gonna.
And I think the goal with new construction is to start with equity, so that we don't have to put money out of our pocket. We start day one with some equity in the house where we don't have to bring anything down. So hoping that's what we can work this year.
Yeah. When you say you don't need to bring anything down, what do you mean? Can you finance?
Well, I think my primary goal is acquire them as primary residents, live in there for same thing, do the house hacking to the point where once you are done with the new construction, you at least have 30-40K equity in the house, just with the construction cost and the land. When the appraisal comes in, I'm hoping we'll structure the deal in such a way that it will come 30-40K difference between our construction cost and the appraisal. So we'll have some equity in the house to the point where we don't have to put any down payment. And that's the goal as of now.
Cool. Gotcha.
Yeah. So I want to hit back a little bit on, you guys were mentioning that your bedrooms are mostly furnished, right? Okay.
All of them are actually at this point.
All of them. Okay, cool. So I think that is super unique. So for the most part, if you look around the co-living community here, people who are on PadSplit, 100% furnished because it's a requirement by the platform. But most people that I know who are not on PadSplit do have unfurnished rooms. So for example, we're all off PadSplit, probably 90 to 93% or something are unfurnished. And then we have some furnished. So you guys are definitely unique in taking this approach. So I really want to dive deep and see how well it's working for you guys. So you started out unfurnished and then you flipped furnished. How long did it take you to flip?
I would say about 6 to 8 months. And then we started figuring out, hey, we need to start furnishing them because one, it gives more value and our rents are on the higher side. I was like, why don't we provide a good product out? And we noticed over the past few years, it helps with retention as well. People like to stay longer because they have a bed, they have a mattress, they have a chair, they have a desk, they have a TV, they have a mini fridge. They have everything they need to be there. So they don't like to just leave and move to a different place. So I think it helps with retention as well.
And Miller, we have last couple months, we have seen a lot of folks are out of state. They travel to Charlotte because Charlotte is growing insanely. So we have a lot of folks who are coming to Charlotte to work or to live. So when they first come to Charlotte, they are not looking to buy a TV, a bed, desk. All they want to do is bring their car to a house and move in. So that has helped a lot. And when they do that, they see how good it is, how can they save a lot of money, and they choose to stay more than they thought they would stay here. Yep.
Okay. So you guys are seeing, you think, higher price because they're furnished and longer stays?
Exactly.
Yes. And the way we furnish our rooms are a little bit different than all the other folks that are doing co-living in our area. We do intentionally furnish them really well, I would say. And I have nothing against people who just furnish them bare minimum. Like our beds are a little bit better beds, better mattress, better desk. We put a lot of efforts and thought into choosing what furniture goes into the rooms. Now we do have a list that we follow, but it took us a long time to decide what bed works, what desk works, what chair works. I feel like a lot of operators don't really think in that term. They just throw a bed, a mattress, and a desk and put it online. But if you look at our pictures, if you look at our marketing, our rooms do look premium, and we do get a premium rent for those rooms, and people tend to stay longer.
Yeah, now that you have this furnishing list built out so you can copy and paste a little bit better, are you getting all the furnishing items online? Or since you're getting better quality stuff, is that where you're kind of having to break down and go in person and put some effort in that way?
So we did that little bit from previous marketplace stuff like that when we first started, but now we get everything from Amazon. Every single item that we have comes from Amazon. So we have them delivered at our home. Until now, until our current acquisition, which was 2 months ago, we used to build our own furniture. We used to bring the furniture to the room, stay there long nights just to build furniture. It takes a lot of time. Now, as you said, we are growing. We have hired folks who can come build furniture for us. Our handyman comes in and does everything for us. So the latest 2 homes that we just closed on, we had somebody came in with the furniture, and it was amazing. But yeah, everything comes online. I get delivered that to my home, and then either I set it up or I have somebody else set it up.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I know, like personally, or even like I remember reading some of Brandon Turner's earlier books, and him and his wife were at the house working on it, painting, whatever, getting it ready for the turnover. Same thing with me and my wife. We're over there setting the property up. Got somebody moving in tomorrow, trying to get all the furniture together. And it was very nice when we switched to not doing that. But at the same time, we sit around sometimes and we're like, oh man, that was really fun when we'd go over there and we have these super late
Right.
nights with a couple boxes of pizza, just with all these little Allen keys, putting everything together.
Correct. I can totally relate to that. We decided to paint a room the other day, and I was like, you know what, that's now that we are scaling, let's just not do it ourselves. But no, I totally remember those late nights when I was building furniture at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. It seems like I would probably be out of questions about furnishing, but I'm not. So to go just a little bit further, I think this is something that people may not think about a lot when they're deciding to furnish or not, but it does change the platforms that you have access to. So you guys mentioned being on Furnish Finder earlier. That's a platform that mine and Craig's portfolio, for the most part, cannot be on because the room has to be furnished, is my understanding, to be on that
Yes.
platform. So
Yep. Yep.
even though living room, kitchen, dining, all that stuff's furnished, to be on Furnish Finder, your room needs to be also. So
Yes.
if you do furnish, that's a whole new lead source that's opened up to you. How are you guys using Furnish Finder, and how much success are you having with it? Is that part of the reason that you guys are fully occupied when other people aren't?
And that's a good way to look at it, Miller, because we just got Furnish Fund, I would say like 8-9 months ago. We didn't have Furnish Fund from day one. We were like, because Furnish Fund does charge money to put your room like $200 a year. But when we started Furnish Finder, the response was really good. Where folks, I think that's the reason we had our rooms furnished a little higher, scaled up rooms, like luxury room, if you want to call them. But since they look all the Furnish Finder, all it is pictures. That's all it matters, right? People look at those pictures. People look at how your rooms are designed, how your kitchen is, how the home looks like in general. And we don't rent it through Furnish Finder. It's a lead source. We just have them reach out to us on Furnish Finder and then take it on our own as, hey, we call them, we do a tour, we put them on an Inago. So yes, Furnish Finder has worked amazing. Right now, I feel 40-45% people are from Furnish Finder. They only come for three months, but then they decide to stay longer just because the quality of living is really good and they don't want to go anywhere else. But yes, it's been amazing for us so
Yeah,
far.
geez. Okay. So I don't have a ton of experience with Furnish Finder. So I want to ask some specific questions here. So we do have a couple midterm units that I used to, like non-rooms that have common spaces and everything attached, that I have some experience with, but we haven't really done the rooms on there so much. So when you mention this subscription, the $200 a year or whatever, is that per listing? And because of that, do you just put one listing up and just generate interest from that one? Or are you putting all rooms up there? How does the platform work with that?
So it is per room, per unit that you put on. They charge you around 100 and I think $170 to $200. But we usually just put 2 units, one with the private room, one with a shared room, right? Since all our homes are exactly they look very similar, right? The floor plan is the same. The furniture might be different here and there, but they all look very similar. So yeah, I just usually just use 2 units on it for now, and it seems to be working so far.
Okay. And so I remember the platform works a little bit differently here too. So are you just getting messages that you're replying to, or is it a platform where you're actually doing outreach? And if so, can you explain that?
So I think there are two ways to do it. Yeah, you do have people reach out to you, and then you also have a lead dashboard where when there is a new person who comes on Furnish Finder, you get notified saying, hey, this person is looking for this
Area.
and this bedrooms and bathroom count. So yeah, you get both. But the good thing about Furnish Finder is you don't have to do a tour, right? With our current model, we do a lot of showings. We bring people out and spend a lot of times showing them rooms. With Furnished Finder, you don't have to. Sometimes people do prefer to do a tour, then we will agree to it, but you don't have, because they expect that this is what the room's gonna look like, and they'll send you booking. They'll send you a booking request saying, hey, I want to stay for 3 months at this location, and you just call them up and discuss everything that you need to discuss.
Okay. And are there any other platforms that are open to you guys because you are furnished?
At the moment, no. I think Furnished Fund is the only platform we use just because we are furnished. But all our rooms, the way we advertise, are furnished rooms.
I think Airbnb could be good as well.
Yeah, we haven't
I haven't tried it, but I think that we could open ourselves to Airbnb as well. I know a lot of operators do use Airbnb to get leads as well.
Yeah.
And the other good thing about Furnished Finder, what we do is we have them go to our website directly. So I feel like the recent website that I built helps us a lot in terms of, because every single question they have, the website can answer for them before they even call us. They can look at pictures for not just one listing that's on Furnished Finder, but they can look at all our other homes that are in there. It builds credibility. It builds like, hey, these people know what they're doing, instead of it's just a normal landlord who's just trying to rent his room or basement. So that does help.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And yeah, what you guys mentioned about Airbnb there. Yeah, that's my understanding too. You are now allowed to list on that platform too. We haven't done a ton there, but that was actually, Craig and I just got back from a conference, and one of those takeaways from talking with people, we should totally be putting those furnished rooms on Furnished Finder, on Airbnb, and even that will end up bringing traffic, like you're talking about, to our website, where there's even our unfurnished rooms. And maybe one of those is in a better location for them. And they're like, okay, well, I'm in a little bit. I'm in the doorway a little bit now. I'm going to pick that one. And yeah, I'll get my own stuff. So it really just opens up your overall exposure even.
And I think the advantage with Furnished Finder is you get a lot of nurses, medical staff, and then you get a lot of pilots and airline staff. And they usually talk within their own circle. And if anybody else is looking, they'll bring them to you as well, right? Or you can use them as a marketing tool saying, hey, I'll give you a referral fee if you decide to bring me anybody within your circle. So I think that could be a great thing with Furnished Finder as well.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Last question that I have. So you guys mentioned earlier that you were on Facebook Marketplace and you're getting a lot of leads that way. Are you guys using Facebook groups? And if so, how are you using them and have they been effective?
Yes and no. I think Marketplace has been more effective than the groups, but I do post in groups just to get my listing out there. I have received some leads, not a lot of conversions, but no, they do help. At least get your word out there. And I had people comment on them, people reach out using those posts as well. Yeah, I do that.
Hey guys, the tool I've been talking about forever, Co-Living Pro, is now officially live. So some of the biggest problems that I've encountered around co-living are always on the marketing side. So you can think of Co-Living Pro as a marketing software or a tool to help you overcome some of these marketing issues that we all run into in the co-living space. So number one, it helps you determine what to price your room at and then how to change that price over time. And that's actually a free tool. You can go there to colivingpro.io, and there's a little like rentometer type tool where you can punch in an address, punch in a zip, punch in a city, and kind of see what rooms might rent for there. But it does that for you. And number two, historically, for us to keep our rooms operating at full capacity, especially when we're off of PadSplit, it's meant that we had to post on Zillow, post on Zumper, post on Apartments, post on Roomies, post on all these places. And with just a 5-bedroom house, that's already 20 listings right there, which is a lot of work, a lot of time and effort. So Co-Living Pro helps you solve this. You just make your listing on this one site and it pushes it to Zillow, pushes it to Zumper, and we even support any platform with the manual listing manager. So you can still be on Apartments, still be on Roomies, still be on PadSplit, still be on anything. And it's kind of a wizard that helps you stay organized, your VA stay organized. It shows you what rooms need to be posted where with just quick copy paste prompts. Copy your rent over, copy your description over, boom, you're good to go. And number three, historically, now that you're on all these sites, we always had to hop in daily or at least weekly to keep these listings up at the top, keep the pricing up to date. So Co-Living Pro solves that for you too. It's making those adjustments for you on a daily basis, even an hourly basis, to make sure your listings are updated across your platforms. So you guys know everything I've always done has been free. The community is free. This podcast is free. I'm super proud of that and definitely going to keep doing all that. But this tool is paid, but I feel comfortable doing that because the numbers are honestly pretty insane. So if you go to Co-Living Pro, there is a calculator where you can do this for your own situation. But let's take that example earlier of the 1 5-bedroom property. From that, we estimate you'll make an extra $1,400 a year in extra rent and reduced vacancy. And that is 5x what the tool costs. Let me say that again. This tool produces 5x the return of what it costs. So in this example, that's actually a better return than most co-living properties themselves, being around 15, 16%. So seriously, to me, this is a no-brainer. I think you should totally go sign up, especially right now. We have limited time founders pricing, so it's 50% off for life. Whenever you add a property, that property stays 50% off for the first 100 signups before the end of April. So head over to colivingpro.io. This is the tool that I built for my own business, and I'm so happy that I can finally share it with you guys. And back to the episode.
Cool. Awesome. Miller, are you ready? It is time for the Big Three. Boom, boom, boom. That could be Ham, Harsh, and your sister.
Yeah.
Big
right?
Three.
Big three.
Big Three. Let's go. All right, Ham and Harsh. These are the three questions that we ask every guest. Number one, what's one tool or system you use in your business that you could not live without?
So currently, we discovered this couple months ago, but for one, we cannot live without for one. That tool that we used to do pre-screening before the tenant even, or before we reach out to the tenant, right? Before we schedule a showing, that's one tool that we have found is bring us a lot of value. We are realtors, so we do get them from our realtor license. But other than that, I feel like that's one tool that I could not live without.
Yeah, I think that one's huge. You guys were a couple of the ones that kind of put me onto that tool. But yeah, that's Forewarn, Fore. And yeah, even as a non-licensed person, you can get access to it. But super cool. It basically gives you a soft background check on someone by entering their phone number. And again, you don't have to be a realtor. You can do it even if you're not. But yeah, personally, we've been using those before someone tours. That's my first good sniff check just to make sure everything's all good. So yeah, totally echo. I think it's $20-$30 a month if you're not an agent at least, and totally worth it.
The good part about that tool is when even if you don't have the number, you can put their first name, last name, and you can get an idea on who they are. And what we also like to do is that once we have the name, we like to search our county records, right? Just to see if they have anything that we won't agree with. So it helps tremendously that we don't even schedule a showing if we don't think this person is going to qualify. Because 9 of 10 times when you ask somebody, do you have any criminal history, any background, they're going to be like, any evictions? They're going to be, no, I don't have anything. But when you do a background check, it pops up.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, second question here. What's one transaction, renovation, or housemate horror story that you've experienced, and what did that teach you?
I'll take this one. Not the renovation or the house, but I would say the horror story is we did had to go through one eviction in our home. That was one thing that we learned really the hard way. I feel if the mistake we made was we didn't screen those tenants correctly when we first started. That the tenant stayed with us almost a year, but we did not screen them as we should have, right? So it was an experience that we learned, and we've been through a lot with that tenant, but it taught us a lot. I would never make the same mistake again in terms of how I screen my tenants or how I deal with them if it comes down to them having stopped paying rents or creating problems in the home. So that's one thing I would not do again, or hard lesson.
Awesome.
Cool. Outside of this podcast and the co-living community Facebook group, where are you learning the most about co-living today?
Definitely Bigger Pockets. That's a big one for me. And then our calls, we have our weekly calls with Dave Edwards, the co-living operation group. I think I learn a lot from that. And then from Andres as well. I think he's also has its own calls. Joining those weekly or monthly calls definitely helps. And of course, the one that we have every month. But I mean, really helps. The monthly call with the Miller, they are the one who got us into connecting with other folks in the country, right? We were just doing this on our own in our small city. But once we attended your monthly calls, I feel like that was our beginning of, hey, how can we got to know that other people are in the country like us. We never knew. Or so I feel like I would suggest anybody to start with a Facebook group, see how you guys can connect or relate with everybody else, and then network from there. I also want to give a lot of credit to our local REI group. That's actually where we kind of saw the potential of real estate, right? I was looking at Bigger Pockets, but the moment I started attending those REI meetups, something clicked, and I saw how other people are being very successful with it, to the point where the first time I attended an REI, the next week we were already under contract. Wow. Right? But they are not co-living REI, they are REI in general. Just right? REI in general. But even though you kind of see what's out there, people saying, hey, I'm making $200-$300 a month cash flow. And I'm like, you know what, with calling, I'm making even more. So why it's kind of really working for us. But no, local REI groups, I think, is one of the best ways people can get started.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's really important to highlight. So there's the two-pronged approach here. You guys are going to local events and
Yep.
you're in these national Facebook groups where you're
Correct.
having monthly calls and you're kind of talking live. So yeah, in these national co-living Facebook groups, I would say, yeah, that's where you're getting new directly applicable ideas to co-living, right? You hop on our call, you hop on Dave's call, later or whatever. And that's where you're learning, oh, this is the exact new thing I need to apply to the acquisition. Next time I bring a tenant in, I should add this to my lease, right? You're getting these ideas that you just can't have locally because there's not enough people doing co-living locally. So you get that. And then whenever you're local though, now you're getting out of the box ideas, maybe something like, oh, somebody does a midterm strategy here locally. Oh, and they're renting out their garage. Oh, maybe that's something I could add into my co-living strategy. Maybe they know the contractor nearby and you can kind of get those contacts. So there's benefits to both.
And when we're networking, when we go to these events, either they can be Facebook groups or our local REI, I feel like if you're afraid to put yourself out there, that's not doing any good to you, right? What I believe is the more you put yourself out there, the more questions you ask, the more you talk, you get to learn a lot more than just staying silent or being in the back seat. But and not just listening, right? When someone, what we like to do is when we learn something new, we like to implement it right away. Either we take a note down and we like to work on that. Let's say God's conversion, right? If we feel like that's a positive move, we like to go and implement right away instead of just sitting on it and forgetting about it. So do something about it, listen, and then
Take action.
Take actions.
Awesome. Couldn't have said it better. All right. Last question here. Where can listeners find you guys? Where can they learn more about you and where can they connect with you?
Facebook, I think, is a great way to connect. You can find me on Facebook, Harsh Thakur, and you can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram.
You can also visit our website, cltroomrentals.com. That's where you can, you can submit a question and you can get in touch with us. We have our socials and our contact info there as well. Either one of them will work.
Awesome. Hem, Harsh, so great to have you guys on. Super pumped to meet you too. This is the first time that I've actually got to talk to you guys, and I love what you're doing out there in North Carolina. And I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people in the early phases. And honestly, it kind of gives me the chills that you got, in a good way, that you guys are brothers working so good together, like hashtag twinning. If you remember the Charlie Sheen, I might be dating myself, back in the day, but I feel like you guys are like if there was a definition for twinning, it would be you guys. Congrats, guys. And yeah, looking forward to seeing you around the co-living spaces.
100%.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Miller. And again, I would like to thank both of you as well. Miller has been an inspiration since day one, and we just got to know you, Greg. But yeah, Miller, you guys have been wonderful, and we get so much stuff to learn from you guys, like so much you won't even believe.
Yeah, I do appreciate that.
Awesome. Yeah, Miller's
Thank you guys so much.
All right. Awesome, guys. We'll talk to you guys soon, and we'll be in touch. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks. And that was Hem and Harsh. Miller, what'd you think of Hem?
Man, I think that was incredibly fun. That might be the first time that we've had two guests on at the same time. And I got to say, we got to keep doing that. That keeps the energy high. We're just going back and forth. We were barely taking a breath. Someone was always talking. Yeah, I really enjoyed talking with these guys and learning everything that they had to give us.
Yeah, I think, like I said in the beginning, I'm just so impressed at how quickly they kind of moved through phase one of like just real estate investing in general. A lot of people are house hacking for 4 or 5 years before they get the confidence to start raising their own money. Yeah, I think there's a lot to learn from these guys. Go back, re-listen to this episode. And heck, at this point in time, not for long, but for this point in time, Hem and Harsh are not super duper famous. We get regular people on this show. So if you were to reach out to Hem and Harsh right now and you're buying your first or second property, I bet you they'd respond and I bet you they'd give you a couple tips. However, if you wait a year or 2 years or whatever that might be, they might be too big and they might get inundated and they might be the Alex Hermosi of co-living and they're probably not going to answer you. So reach out to them, interact in our co-living group called the Co-Living Community on Facebook, and we can hang out with us too. And yeah, we just can't wait to see y'all there and see you in the community.
Yeah, and I guess I would just say him and Harsh are literally the product of reading books, being in communities, being at the local REI organization. So if you guys aren't involved in those things, whether it's ours or whether it's anybody's, that is the way that they got to where they are so quickly. You would learn all these lessons eventually, but you would learn them on your own dime over a much longer period of time. So these guys are like the epitome of getting involved and learning everything that they could and implementing as quickly as they could. So would definitely recommend that you guys follow in their steps in that way.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, Miller, good to see you.
Good to see you.
We will talk again next week.
All right. And if you guys want to follow me at Miller McSwain and
me at Craig Curelop.
Yep, we post co-living content all day, every day, and we'll see you guys around those channels too. All right. Thanks, everybody. Talk soon.
See you guys. Bye.
Bye.